Emma never imagined that a church full of people would become the place where her life would completely change. It was a quiet Sunday morning. The church was filled with families, soft music, and peaceful prayers. Emma stood near the front, looking at her parents with hope in her eyes. She believed that no matter what happened, parents would always protect their child. But that day, she learned a painful truth. Her father slowly walked toward her. His face was cold, and his eyes showed no love. People around him became silent as he took a deep breath. "From today, you are no longer part of this family," he said. Emma felt like the entire world stopped. She looked at her mother, waiting for her to say something, waiting for her to defend her. But her mother only looked down and whispered, "We cannot forgive what you have done." Emma's heart broke. She wanted to explain. She wanted to tell them that the things they heard were not true. But nobody wanted to listen. The people inside the church watched as her own parents walked away from her. That moment stayed in Emma's memory forever. That night, she left with only a small bag and a few dollars. She had no home, no family support, and no idea what would happen next. But Emma refused to let their decision destroy her. Over the next 2 years, she built a new life. She worked hard, learned from her pain, and became stronger than anyone expected. She stopped waiting for an apology. Then, on a rainy night, someone knocked on her door. When Emma opened it, she froze. Standing outside were the two people who once said they never wanted to see her again, her parents. But this time they were not angry. They were crying, and in her mother's arms was a small baby wrapped in a blanket. Her father looked at her and said the words Emma never expected to hear. "Please, we need your help." Emma stared at them, wondering one thing. Why did the parents who abandoned her come back now? Emma stood at the doorway, unable to move. For 2 years, she had imagined many different reasons why her parents might come back. Maybe they would apologize. Maybe they would finally admit they were wrong. But she never imagined seeing them standing there with tears in their eyes and a baby in their arms. The same people who erased her from their lives were now asking her for help. Emma stepped back and let them enter, but she did not welcome them with open arms. The pain from that day in the church was still fresh in her heart. Her mother carefully placed the baby on the sofa and looked at Emma. "His name is Noah," she said quietly. Emma looked at the little child sleeping peacefully. He was innocent. He had nothing to do with the mistakes of adults. Then her father started explaining. After they left Emma, their perfect family image began to fall apart. The people they trusted started leaving them. The secrets they had protected for years slowly came to light. But the biggest problem was Noah. The baby belonged to Emma's younger brother, Daniel. Daniel had disappeared after a serious family problem, leaving the baby behind. Emma was shocked. She remembered how her parents always protected Daniel. No matter what happened, he was always the favorite child. Meanwhile, Emma was always blamed. "Why are you coming to me?" Emma finally asked. Her father looked down. "Because we have nobody else." Those words hurt more than she expected. They did not come back because they missed her. They came back because they needed her. Emma wanted to tell them to leave. She wanted them to feel the same loneliness she felt outside that church. But when Noah started crying, something inside her changed. She remembered that a child should never suffer because of adults' mistakes. Emma agreed to help for the baby's sake. But she made one thing clear. She would find the truth. And this time, nobody would silence her. Emma spent the next few days trying to understand what had really happened. She took care of Noah while quietly watching her parents. They acted different now. They were not the proud people who stood against her in the church. They looked tired, broken, and full of regret. But Emma still had questions. Why did they believe the lie about her? Why did they choose to lose their own daughter so easily? One evening, while searching through old family documents, Emma found a forgotten box in her parents' house. Inside were old messages, printed emails, and a small recording device. Her hand started shaking when she saw her name written on one of the files. She opened it. The first message changed everything. It was proof that the story her parents believed 2 years ago was completely false. Someone had created a fake story about Emma and made her look like a terrible person. But then Emma found something even more painful. Her parents had received a warning before the church incident. Someone had told them to wait and hear Emma's side. They ignored it. They chose their reputation over their daughter. Emma felt the same pain all over again. The lie hurt, but their choice hurt more. That night, she sat alone while Noah slept nearby. She remembered standing in that church, begging her parents to believe her. They had looked at her like a stranger. Now they wanted her to forget everything, because they needed her. The next morning, Emma confronted them. "Did you ever doubt the story they told you?" she asked. Her mother started crying. Her father stayed silent. That silence gave Emma her answer. They knew there was a chance she was innocent. They just did not care enough to find the truth. But now Emma had the evidence, and she was determined to discover who destroyed her family, because the person who took everything from her was still hiding, and Emma was coming for the truth. Emma spent the next several days collecting every piece of evidence she could find. She did not do it for revenge. She did it because she needed the truth. For years, her family had made decisions based on lies, and those lies had destroyed everything they once had. As Emma searched deeper, she discovered that the person behind the false story was someone very close to the family. It was her father's business partner, Michael. Michael had always acted like a loyal friend. He attended family events, gave advice, and pretended to care about everyone. But behind their backs, he was protecting his own secret. Emma found messages showing that Michael had created the lies because he wanted control over the family's money and reputation. He knew that if Emma was removed from the family, nobody would question his actions. The shocking part was that he had planned everything carefully. The church announcement, the fake evidence, the rumors, everything. Emma finally understood why her parents had been so quick to reject her. They had been manipulated, but they had also made their own choice. They chose to hurt her. One evening, Emma showed the evidence to her parents. Her mother covered her mouth in shock. Her father sat silently, unable to look at her. "We lost our daughter because we trusted the wrong person," he whispered. Emma looked at him calmly. "No, you lost me because you stopped believing in me." Those words hurt them more than anything. For the first time, they understood that an apology could not erase 2 years of pain. Then suddenly, Noah started crying. The baby had become sick, and everyone became worried. The hospital visit revealed another problem. The medical costs were too high, and her parents had no way to handle it. They looked at Emma with fear in their eyes. The daughter they abandoned had become the only person who could save them. Emma had a choice. She could walk away, or she could help the innocent child caught in the middle. But before she decided, she discovered one more secret about Michael that could change everything. Emma knew she could no longer stay silent. After everything she discovered, she understood that hiding the truth would only allow the same people to keep hurting others. While Noah recovered, Emma continued investigating Michael's actions. She found the final piece of evidence hidden inside an old email account. It was a conversation between Michael and someone else from the family. The messages revealed the complete plan. Michael had not only created lies about Emma, he had also been slowly destroying the entire family from the inside. He wanted her parents to lose everyone's trust so he could take advantage of their weakness. Emma printed every document and saved every recording. Then she made a decision. The truth needed to be heard by everyone. A few weeks later, Emma returned to the same church where her parents had publicly rejected her. The place where she once stood alone was now filled with the same people who had watched her pain. Her parents stood beside her. Their faces showed regret. Michael arrived with confidence, believing nobody could stop him. But when Emma started showing the evidence, his confidence disappeared. The messages, the recordings, the fake documents. Everything was revealed. The people who once judged Emma looked at her differently. They realized they had believed a lie and watched an innocent person suffer. Michael tried to defend himself, but the truth was already clear. For the first time in 2 years, Emma heard the words she had waited for. "We were wrong." Her father apologized in front of everyone. Her mother cried and admitted that they failed her as parents. Emma listened quietly. She had dreamed about this moment many times. But standing there, she realized something important. She did not need their apology to prove her worth. She had already proven it by surviving when they left her. The girl they abandoned had become stronger than anyone expected. But the final decision was still hers. Would she forgive the people who broke her heart? Or would she finally close that chapter forever? Months passed after the truth was revealed. Emma's life became peaceful again. The pain from the church incident never completely disappeared, but she no longer carried the same anger inside her. She had learned that holding on to hate only kept her connected to the people who hurt her. Her parents changed slowly. They stopped making excuses. They stopped blaming others. For the first time, they accepted responsibility for their actions. They visited Emma often, not because they needed something, but because they wanted to rebuild a relationship they had destroyed. They understood that forgiveness was not something they could demand. It was something they had to earn. Emma also stayed connected with Noah. The baby who arrived at her door during the darkest moment of her past became a symbol of a new beginning. One evening, Emma stood outside her house and remembered the night her parents returned. She remembered opening the door and seeing the same people who had once walked away from her. Back then, they came asking for help. But now, they came asking for a second chance. Her father looked at her and said, "We know we cannot change what we did, but we hope one day you can see that we are trying." Emma smiled softly. She knew the past could not be erased. The church, the rejection, the loneliness, those memories would always be part of her story. But they no longer controlled her. Emma realized that the greatest revenge was not making her parents suffer. The greatest revenge was building a life so beautiful that the people who lost her finally understood her value. The story that began with her parents closing a door ended with Emma opening a new one, a door filled with peace, strength, and a future she created herself. Because sometimes the person everyone abandons becomes a person everyone wishes they never lost.